Thank you, Adrian, and a very good evening to you wherever and however you're listening to the World Cup on Talk Sport. Well, the curse of the World Cup winners has struck at the last three tournaments, as Italy in 2010, Spain in 2014 and Germany 4 years ago all failed to exit the group stage as holders of the trophy. And Didier Deschamps, Les Bleus, might well tell you that the curse has already struck early this time, given the absentees from the French squad that's travelled here. Kanté, Pogba, Kimpembe and Nkunku all had to stay home. And then Karim Benzema's thigh injury out here in training meant a late rejig of the 26. In fact, it's only 25 as they begin their quest as reigning champions. As with 2018, their first opponents are Australia, who beat Peru in the Inter-Confederation playoffs in a penalty shootout back in June to claim the 32nd and final spot at this tournament. The Socceroos have only ever made the knockout stages of the World Cup once. That was back in 2006, and they fell victim to the first ever VAR penalty call in Kazan when these teams last met, a decision that set France on their way eventually to a 2-1 win. The Aussies' last World Cup win, that came back in 2010 against Serbia. Well, Deschamps may lack a number of first choice stars, but the team he's picked does have some fearsome firepower. Hugo Lloris in goal, a back four of Benjamin Pavard, Dayot Upamecano, Ibrahim Konate and Lucas Hernandez. Aurelien Chouameni and Adrien Rabiot are the holding midfielders. And then how about this for a front four? Ousmane Dembélé, Antoine Griezmann, Kylian Mbappe and Olivier Giroud, who becomes France's oldest World Cup player tonight as he looks for his 50th international goal. Graham Arnold, the Australia boss, every bit as much of the arch pragmatist as his opposite number. He also lost a player close to this first match as Martin Boyle of Hibs picked up a knee injury and he's been replaced by Marco Tilio. Tilio does not feature in the starting 11. Here it is, a 4-3-3. Matthew Ryan is the goalkeeper, a back four featuring three defenders from the Scottish Premiership: Nathaniel Atkinson, Kai Rolls, Harry Souttar at 6'7", and Aziz Behich. Then in midfield, Aaron Moy of Celtic is at the base of a three-man midfield. Either side of him, Riley McGree and Jackson Irvine. Up front, Mitchell Duke through the centre, flanked either side by Matthew Leckie and Craig Goodwin. Our referee tonight is Victor Gomez of South Africa, just 39 years of age. Ref the African Cup of Nations final back in 2021. And we are ready for the off here in the Al Janoub Stadium. France in their dark blue jerseys, white shorts and red socks will get things underway. Australia in the traditional gold and green with white socks, and they'll be defending the end away to our right, where the most vociferous Australian support is. And France get us underway on Talk Sport for our fourth game of the day. We've already seen Saudi Arabia cause the shock of the tournament by defeating Argentina. A couple of 0-0 draws since then. What can the French, the reigning champions, serve up tonight? They've already sent the ball out to the left-hand side, and Kylian Mbappe trying to combine with Hernandez. Back it goes to the two centre-halves who combine, Konate and Upamecano. Three of that France back four play their football for Bayern Munich and Germany. Griezmann, right-hand side, looks to pick out Dembélé, who's also on this near side of the right, trying to get past his man. Behich gets into the byline, fires it across deep to the far post. Mbappe can bring it down, tries to weave his way towards the byline, hits across, and it's headed away at the near post by Kai Rolls. And France will collect inside their own half. Inside a minute, and France already trying to get in behind Australia. Volley cross by Hernandez off the back of the right back Nathaniel Atkinson, and France have an early corner at 0-0.
A nice gentle start from the French, then all of a sudden they went up the gears really quickly, playing through the thirds, and the last thing you need if you're an Australian fullback is both wide players skipping past you and delivering crosses.
Referee wants a word with Antoine Griezmann, making sure that he's not blocking the goalkeeper Matthew Ryan. Blocking is something that apparently referees have been told to stamp out of this World Cup. Here comes the corner flick to the far post. Bezic gets it away, volleyed back by Dembélé into the box, and there's Australian legs there to get it clear, but picked up by Hernandez, trying to play the ball down the left-hand side to release Mbappe, but then there's a foul on an Australian player on the far right-hand side by Adrien Rabiot, and the Socceroos get a free kick, 0-0.
As you alluded to before the game, Dance, I think the Aussies, a 4-1 scenario, playing very deep, It'd be really important on turnover of possession when you're playing against really good sides. You keep possession of the ball and try and break the tempo of the game.
Harry Souttar, 6'7", the tallest outfield player at this World Cup. Plays the ball out to the right-hand side. A chance for Leckie to come in field. Aaron Moy tries to take over. Unmistakable shaven head of the Celtic player, once of Huddersfield Town. Driven into midfield. Riley McGree can have a go. 25 yards, but snatched at it horribly, and it went a good 4 or 5 yards wide of Lloris's right-hand post. It's 0-0, but as Chris Wilder was telling Adrian Durham, McGree's got a goal in him.
Yeah, he has. There was a crossfield pass there, and it was a bit of a scuff, to be honest with you, and it landed at McGree's feet, and he should have done a lot better, even though it was distance.
Ball only half cleared by Pavard, and it's well won back by Craig Goodwin down the left-hand side. And the ball's forced out of play by Upamecano for a throw, quickly taken by Goodwin, trying to combine with McGree on this near side, level with the French penalty area on the left. They've won another throw in, and they might leave this for Behic to send in a long throw. As soon as I say that, he goes short to Moy, gives it back to Behic of Dundee United, back to Rolls of Heart of Midlothian. Souttar again on halfway, squares it to Rolls once more. We played it 3 minutes on TalkSport. 0-0 in our final game of the day. And Australia have the chance to bring it forward with Nathaniel Atkinson, but he runs into trouble in the shape of Griezmann. But Moy picks it up, finds McGree, sends the ball out early to Goodwin, left-hand corner of the box, tries to get the ball into the area early. Again, Upamecano's there to block. Pavard tries to lift it down the right-hand side away from danger, but the green and gold shirts will pick it up, and they've had good pressure. McGree again inside left channel, tries to set Goodwin away down the left-hand side of the box, but the pass is too firm and rolls behind for a French goal kick. 0-0 on TalkSport.
Yeah, the Aussies there having a really good phase of play, and sometimes if you're the French and you go out there, or you're these talented sides that want to go out and you've got a mentality on what we're going to do in possession of the ball, you lose track of the defensive work that you have to do and win the battle first. And the French have got to make sure that they do win the battle first before they overpower the Australians.
Stuart Pearce, you can hear alongside me, Ian Danta here at the Al Janoub Stadium, the southernmost stadium of all in Qatar for this 2022 FIFA World Cup. Upamecano for France, getting up towards the halfway line, hits a diagonal ball seeking out Mbappe, who's hugging the left-hand touch line. Now he's looking to take on Nathaniel Atkinson, gets past him with ease to the byline, takes it into the area, tried to take it too far in the end and ran into a forest of green and gold shirts who got it clear for a French throw. 0-0.
Yeah, the last thing in the world that the Aussies need is being isolated one-on-one. Atkinson there with Mbappe, he's just played it past him and left him by 4 or 5 yards. It was quite incredible wing play, it really is. And you need to get really tight to him. Stop the ball arriving at his feet if you possibly can.
5 minutes gone. France 0, Australia 0 on TalkSport. And here is Ibrahima Konate and Upamecano now taking over. Looking out to the left-hand side for Mbappe once again, but he's overhit the pass there. Upamecano. Little thumbs up from Mbappe, say, well, worth a try. And the Australians will have a throw. Their last 3 World Cup goals, Australia, were all Mile Jedinak penalties in previous tournaments, and they haven't, as I said, won a World Cup fixture since 2010 against Serbia. The other problem they've had, Stuart, is keeping clean sheets. They just cannot keep a clean sheet. 1 in 16 World Cup games.
And that could be a real problem for them tonight, you know. I think if they concede 1, they'll concede more than 1, you know, so...
yeah. Well, Moy plays it out to the left-hand side, and it's teased down the left wing by Goodwin. McGree goes back into his own half for Behic, and now the 2 centre-halves play passes between themselves, middle of their own half. Rolls looks for Behic, who's come in from the left-hand side, and flicks it out to Goodwin again on this near touch line, right on the halfway line, but he's immediately closed down by Dembele, and now Souttar has it once again. Moy comes to receive the ball. He is the deepest lying of the Australian midfielders, and he'll be doing a lot of that tonight, just patrolling in front of his 2 centre-halves and protecting them as best he can. Tries to win a half 50-50 ball with Rabiot. Wins a throw actually for Australia 0-0 on TalkSport, 7 gone.
Even in these early stages, Dance, I'm not seeing too many of the French boys looking to do the work out of possession hard, you know, from the front. They're happy to let the Aussies have the ball and move the ball. And if I was the Australian backline, I would just keep it moving and say, look, if you want the ball, you're going to have to come chasing. We're not going to give you an easy out.
Matthew Ryan, the Aussie keeper, drills the ball out to the right-hand side, looking to pick that Matthew Leckie, but it's won back by Hernandez. But again, a hook pass goes way over the head of Kylian Mbappe, just rolls through to Matty Ryan. And 121 Premier League appearances for Brighton. Now playing his football at FC Copenhagen in Denmark. Played every minute of the last 2 World Cups, the Australian keeper. And he finds Harry Souttar, just back from a long injury layoff for Stoke City. Picked up by Behic, the left back. Looks to loft it down the left-hand side, asking Mitchell Duke to give chase. And that forces the ball to be put out of play by Upamecano for an Aussie throw. Left-hand side, thrown in quickly by Goodwin to Behic. Now Moy just lets the ball run across his body, but he has to drift back towards the halfway line because of the attentions of Griezmann. Here's Souttar hitting a diagonal ball into out, looking for Leckie. Oh, good touch by Matthew Leckie. Got away from Theo Hernandez, cross to the far post. Goodwin has put Australia ahead. Goodwin, what a start for the Socceroos. 8 minutes gone. A slip on the far side from Hernandez. They were in behind, and a ball to the far post saw Craig Goodwin steer it into the roof of the net, past Lloris. What a start at the Al Janoub. France 0, Australia 1.
Well, I think, Dance, what the French have done, have paid the penalty for not pressing in any way, shape or form across the back line of the Australians. So it was nice and easy. We'll pass it around, and I'll tell you what, they just weren't able to pick a pass whenever they wanted. Wonderful crossfield pass, great ball in, and Leckie coming in from this far side just delivered.
Well, Lucas Hernandez is still down, the French left back, because he was turned by Matthew Leckie when he got inside him down the right hand side of the box, and he's still down, and the stretcher's actually been brought out for the French left back in the aftermath of this goal. The Aussie players are already back in their own half, but what a moment for Craig Goodwin, only his second international goal. Plays for Adelaide United, made his debut way back in 2013 and then spent 6 years in the international wilderness before being recalled. What a moment for him, and a very calm finish, Stuart Pearce.
Yeah, really good point there. That wasn't as easy a finish as you think. The ball was bouncing slightly, and when there's an expectation that you should score, it's never that easy. And the French obviously look as though it's double jeopardy for them, with Hernandez down, and it looks as though, to me, he's rolled his knee, I think, as he's tried to turn.
Yeah, he wasn't caught by Leckie at all. He was just wrong-footed by Leckie's move inside him, and as he tried to pivot and turn, he fell awkwardly. We're just seeing a replay of it now inside the stadium. It was just a brilliant turn from Leckie, and he did his right knee. It looks very innocuous, Stuart, doesn't it?
And as I know from my experience, quite often they do look quite innocuous, those little twists and turns, but the good thing is he's up on his feet now and may be able to continue. But the fairy story continues today at the World Cup.
He's Adelaide United's record goal scorer as well. He's scored 45 goals for the A-League side. He will not have had a moment like that in his career. And credit Matthew Leckie as well for the ball across. And he wasn't the only option for him to put in. It wasn't just Goodwin that was in there. Duke was in there, McGree was following in. This is not necessarily an Australian side that's come here to defend. They lead on TalkSport. We're finally back underway, and it looks like there's going to be a change for the French. Hernandez is back out there, but a change is being ready down beneath us. Looks like his brother might be coming on, in actual fact, Theo Hernandez.
Yeah, Hernandez is just off the park over there in the far corner. I don't think he'll play any part.
So one Hernandez for another. That makes it easy for a commentator. 1-0 to Australia. You listen to TalkSport. 11 minutes gone. Mbappe looking to set himself away down the left-hand side to take on Atkinson once again. Beats him. The cross comes in, and Kai Rolls has to head it behind for a corner in front of his goalkeeper, Matt Ryan. France's first corner of the game, but before they take it, they'll make that change and bring on Theo Hernandez for Lucas Hernandez, a year younger than the man he's replaced and plays for AC Milan. So he's on, and he's going to hang around just outside the penalty area as this corner kick is prepared by Mbappe. A right-footed in-swinger to come from him. Griezmann makes a run to the near post. It's just above his head. Leckie heads clear. Hernandez's first task is to try and drive it back to the edge of the area. It's then shoveled out by Upamecano to Mbappe. Middle of the half, left-hand side. Early ball into the box. Flicked on by Rabiot, but that will bounce comfortably through to Matthew Ryan. And we're now 12 minutes gone on TalkSport. France 0, Australia 1.
I think the French have paid the penalty for that mentality of having, look, who's going to do the hard miles, who's going to go and press and shut down, and no one did. And then enabled Australia to just pick a pass too easily, to be quite honest with you. And from the Aussies' point of view now, all they've got to do, keep possession of the ball and make the French come onto them and chase, and hopefully pick them off with the odd pass through the lines.
It's back with Matthew Ryan, the Aussie keeper. Right-footed clearance out to the far right-hand side, but it won't stay in play. Leckie tried to keep it from going out for a throw-in, but it is a French throw. So penny for the thoughts of Didier Deschamps in these early stages. His contract's up, I think, at the end of this World Cup. Over 10 years in charge. Does he fancy it any further? And that's the earliest goal that France have conceded at the World Cup since '86 in Mexico in the semi-final, when Andreas Bremer scored after 9 minutes. Now down the left-hand side, France coming forward with Hernandez. Cross into the box, comfortably cleared by Aaron Moy. Leckie's chasing after it. He's not short of pace, but it was well retrieved by Griezmann, doing his defending for the French out on the left-hand side. And now it's with Ibrahima Konate of Liverpool in the centre circle. Pavard takes over, scored the goal of the tournament 4 years ago in Russia when he scored that extraordinary banana shot against Argentina. Here he is again in possession, Pavard, just ahead of the halfway line. Dembele hugging the touchline to his right, and he just plays it backwards to square, picked up by Chouameni, and an early ball out to the left-hand side looking for Lucas Hernandez, but he gives it straight back to the Real Madrid man, Chouameni. Good ball down the left-hand side of the box. Mbappe brings it down like he's got carpet slippers on, rolls it across the face of goal, and McGree's back there to get a foot in and put it out for a throw. No, it's been kept in play on the far side, but Australia have then won it back with Mitchell Duke working hard to win possession. And it will go back to Matt Ryan, who's got Griezmann closing him down to the right-hand side of his box, but he still clears comfortably, first time of asking. And he was looking for Jackson Irvine, didn't quite drop for him, and it's picked up instead by Adrien Rabiot of Juventus. And France, who trail Australia by a goal to nil here on TalkSport after 15 minutes, and Rabiot just gives the ball away there to Jackson Irvine in the centre circle. Really loose pass from Rabiot, and now Aaron Moy scurrying out towards the far right-hand touchline, being followed all the way by Griezmann. Still finds the pass to Leckie, and then there's a push on Leckie by Hernandez, and Australia get a free kick. 1-0 they lead.
I think Moy's going to be really integral to the Australians if they're going to get anything out of this game, or certainly stay in the game as they are. I think he's got a good idea and a good understanding where and how to play passes, and positionally he's got to be right today. I think with the French in these wide areas, as soon as it goes out to Mbappe or Ousmane either side, that's where the real threat is. We've seen 4 or 5 crosses flashed across the face of goal at the moment, and they've got to slide across and double and treble up.
Craig Goodwin with the only goal of the game so far, and that's the first Australian World Cup goal from open play since the guy we were talking about before kickoff, Tim Cahill, scored against the Netherlands out in Brazil. Not renowned for their goal scoring, and when you look at down the caps list of the players, Leckie's got 13 goals, but nobody else in double figures for Australia in terms of international goals. So that is a priceless lead that the Socceroos have. And it's with Aziz Behic, the left back, who can drive towards the halfway line, not close down until he reaches halfway. Then Rabiot goes out to engage and brings him down. Free kick on this near side, right in front of Didier Deschamps' technical area. Hands in pockets, looking stylish, but also looking slightly aggravated. because the French trail by a goal to nil.
Yeah, and as I say, probably partly down to the fact that the front four, I don't think, no press at all from the front four, so that leaves the back six, and they look half-hearted at it, to be honest with you. They look as though they want to play in possession and certainly not out of it.
Rolled forward by Konate. Lovely turn round the corner from Mbappe for Theo Hernandez, who's making tracks down the left-hand side. Rides a challenge, pulls it back from the byline, but straight to the feet of Aaron Moy, who can bring it away outside the penalty area. Find Jackson Irvine. Irvine can drive towards halfway himself, options right and left, and goes way out to this near side to the Aussie left, and finds the goal scorer Goodwin just ahead of the halfway line, but under pressure from Dembele, just turns it back into his own half for Behic. Moy again, as Stuart Pearce was saying, pivotal to Australia, pinging another ball out to the right hand side to pick out Leckie, trying to roll Hernandez, but this Hernandez got the better of him that time, tries to bring it away as he runs across the left hand corner of the penalty box. Theo Hernandez flicks it out left, Rabiot, Mbappe gives it back infield neatly to Hernandez. Some lovely touches from Mbappe early on, Stuart Pearce.
Oh, he's the one that looks as though he's the real threat. The more he gets the ball, as you would expect, he's got the ability to run past 2, 3, 4 players on occasion.
That's what Dembele can do as well. Mbappe just tried to turn the ball into the feet of Giroud at the edge of the area. Only half cleared by Australia. Here's Dembele again. Finds Mbappe at the edge of the D. Tried to return the compliment, but there were enough green and gold shirted players back there to smuggle it clear. 18 and a half minutes gone on your World Cup station, Talk Sport. What a day it's been for the Minnows. Saudi Arabia beating Argentina, coming from behind, and at the moment Australia, ranked 38 in the world, are leading the 4th ranked French by a goal to nil. Here's Benjamin Pavard on the halfway line, squares it to the left hand corner of the centre circle, and Upamecano. Now Chouameni of Real Madrid takes over. Real low block from Australia. They're defending the last third of the pitch. Only really Duke is in front of that. Dembele picks it up on the French right wing now, looking to run at Behic. He's got support from Goodwin to try and defend. The ball across the middle of the park. Sees Irvine sliding strongly on Chouameni. He wins a throw. Chouameni's down in a heap, and it's all going Australia's way so far on TalkSport. 1-0 they lead. Yeah,
it is. As I say, when they've in possession, the Australians, they're having plenty of time on the ball. Crossfield pass there from Aaron Moy earlier. You know, no pressure on the ball, and it's enabling Australia to take the sting out of the game without the pressure on the ball. France need to make this a high-tempo game when they're out of possession, to hurry the Australians into making mistakes. At the moment, they won't give the ball away in their own half because they're not being pressurised.
Throw in for France, just shy of the halfway line. We've played 19 minutes on TalkSport. If you're just tuning into our 4th World Cup commentary of the day, it's France 0, Australia 1. An early goal from Craig Goodwin of Adelaide United has put the holders under pressure. Could the World Cup winners' curse be striking again, as it did to Italy and Spain and Germany in the last 3 World Cups? Plenty more to come. Of course, Denmark and Tunisia in this group drew 0-0 earlier live on TalkSport. Here is Goodwin, the goal scorer, approaching the left-hand corner of the box, tries to drive it in. Chouameni heads clear. Ball's bouncing out to this near touchline. It's one back for the French by Pavard, steered forward by Griezmann, looking for Dembele, but across came Kai Ralls of Hearts and put it out for a throw. 1-0 Australia. Yeah,
he couldn't afford to miss that challenge there. Really quick in. Dembele decided to put the brakes on slightly, but if he'd have nicked past him, big trouble.
Ball played into midfield, but picked up by Suter, stepping out from centre half for Australia. Slightly lazy ball whacked infield by Jackson Irvine, comfortably picked up, and then one back by Duke. Is going to go for goal, and it's only just wide. Suddenly the ball broke for Mitchell Duke, 30 yards out. He just fancied a crack at goal. Lloris diving full stretch to his left, and it went just the wrong side of the post. Australia very nearly 2-0 up there.
I've got to say, I thought that was nestling in the roof of the net there. Really loose pass, and from a good 35 yards he's unloaded a hell of a shot, and they just cut across the ball, and it just curled away from that right hand side post.
If that had been half a yard inside, Lloris was getting nowhere near it. 1-0 to Australia on TalkSport here at the Al Janoub Stadium. Matthew Ryan clears the ball out to the right hand side. It's kept him well by Nathaniel Atkinson, and Lecky's trying to make a nuisance of himself against Hernandez, and he's won it again. Irving passes infield to McGree, driving forward to 30 yards out. Passes out left to Goodwin. Goodwin thinks about an early cross, then just rolls it back 10 yards for Behic. Behic under pressure from Dembele, still turns away from trouble, then the ball ricochets infield to Aaron Moy, who calms things down a little bit for the Socceroos and rolls it back into his own half for Rolls at 1-0 to the Aussies.
Yeah, what the Aussies have been able to do, because they're under no real pressure in the middle band of the pitch, cross-field passes, and then once they've switched it one side, they can switch it again the other, because both wide players for France have got no intent at all in dropping back and filling the space.
That's Stuart Pearce, former England World Cup star, alongside me, Ian Danta, here at the Al Janoub in the southernmost stadium here in Qatar for this 2022 FIFA World Cup. Halfway through the first half on TalkSport. France 0, Australia 1. It remains. 4 more games tomorrow, starting with Morocco, Croatia. That is on TalkSport 2 from 9:45. And then tomorrow on TalkSport, you've got Germany, Japan from midday. Spain take their World Cup bow against Costa Rica from 3. And then Belgium, Canada rounds off the day. Out to the left-hand side, Kylian Mbappe trying to take the ball past Matthew Leckie. Anderson's there to help him out. And on this occasion, Mbappe wasn't allowed to get the cross into the box. Anywhere will do for Australia, and they just hoof it downfield for Lloris to collect outside his box. 1-0 Aussie.
Leckie's got a really, really important job to do in dropping back and shielding anything that's going into Mbappe's feet, and he's got to be the first one to engage him. If he can do that more often than not, it will certainly stop that supply line from the left-hand side.
Ball's gone behind. Out of play just right by the corner flag on the far side of the field, in front of those Australian fans, who I think are outnumbered by the French supporters. I thought it might be the other way round tonight, actually, Stuart, but plenty of tricolours in evidence away to our left-hand side. That's the end the French are defending. That's the end where the goal went in from Craig Goodwin. Suter puts his foot through a clearance downfield up to halfway. It's won by Upamecano. Then Australia try and float it from right to left to pick out Goodwin. It's only half cleared by the French, but they get it back again in the centre circle, and Giroud knocks it back for Rabiot. Now Mbappe, he might get a yard on Atkinson, he's got away from him, but across comes Suter and just whacks it out of play into the advertising hoardings for a French throw.
Well, once again, if Leckie's not there, then the
Suter or Atkinson.
Exactly, someone's got to get across. Atkinson's the next in line, and Suter come and just filled the space, and there was certainly a non-compromising challenge, it's fair to say.
Mbappe again for France, who trail by a goal to nil. 25 minutes gone. Rolls it back for Meccano. Misses out Konate and gives the ball to Pavard just ahead of the centre circle, inside the Australian half. Now Dembele on the right wing looks to get past Goodwin, but Goodwin snaps into the challenge and wins it back, and that's been a feature of Australia's play in this opening quarter, Stuart Pearce.
Yeah, they've certainly been brave in their challenges, helping each other out, doubling up, and when they've been in possession, because they're under no real pressure with the ball, they've found some really good cross-field passes.
So here's Dembele again on the French right. He's got Pavard on the overlap, goes into the box for Griezmann, who's just chinking into space down the right-hand side of the area. Wins a corner off Raoul's, and that is the France with a chance to send their second corner in from this near side. It'll be Griezmann to take it with a left-footed in-swinger for the man from Atletico Madrid. And it comes from Griezmann into the near post, headed out by Leckie. Good strong header clear. It's retrieved by Upamecano midway point of the Aussie half. Clipped back in. Lovely equaliser. Rabiot with a header right in front of goal. The ball sent back into the area, right onto the head of Adrien Rabiot. And the French get themselves level and get their World Cup going through the Juve midfielder. 26 minutes gone. It's France 1, Australia 1.
Yeah, the Aussies will be really disappointed conceding from a secondary set play. Leckie's done brilliantly to get an initial header to clear the box, but as they've come out fairly fragmented, and just not picking up Rabiot, just drifted in behind the back line, too much space, not coming out picking up. and Ryan absolutely no chance from point blank range.
That's Adrian Rabiot's only his third international goal as he reaches 30 caps tonight. He scored in June against Croatia, and he's brought us level here at the Al Janoub on TalkSport. Australia have to start all over again. It's one apiece. VAR's taken a check for what, I'm not quite sure. And the ball's rolled back to Matty Ryan. Just about prevents a corner, does he? No, says the assistant on this near side. It is another corner to France. He seemed to be taking an awful long time getting himself set to clear it, Stuart.
Yeah, he did. This is probably the first chance that the French have had to actually go and squeeze, and they've taken it quickly.
They have to. Griezmann back to Mbappe, left-hand corner of the box. First time ball into the near post, headed up and out. And it'll be a French throw on the far side.
Yeah, it was the first time that the French have squeezed the Aussies trying to play out, and there was an element of panic in that back line.
Here they come again, the French, trying to really assert their authority on this game. Now they've got themselves level. Ousmane Dembélé got two Australian defenders in front of him, so he plays the ball infield. It misses out Upamecano. It's picked up by Chouameni. Now Theo Hernandez, who came on earlier for his brother after the Australian goal. Mbappe darting down the left-hand side of the box, hits it against Suter. Another corner. That's the fourth already this half for the French. 1-1.
Yeah, key for me with the French is keep the two wide players, Mbappe and Ousmane, as high and as wide as humanly possible. They need to be right on the touchline, be patient, wait for the ball to come, and then create when they do get it.
Griezmann again with a corner, left-footed outswinger deep to the far post, goes over the head of Konate, drops for Dembélé, right-hand corner of the area. Again, two players watching him. He rolls it back, trying to pick out Hernandez in the middle of the half, but it was just ahead of him. But Griezmann receives, lovely ball back in and headed over the top by Giroud that time. Just couldn't get over the top of the header, looking for his 50th international goal, and a very similar way to where the goal came about just a moment or so before, but it stays 1-1.
Yeah, he probably just drifted slightly offside looking at a replay on that from Giroud, but what the Australians, that's the second time now, obviously the goal was being caught out from a secondary off of a set play, a corner, and same again, they've got to be careful. If they're coming out, come out together, but come out marking players.
They've only ever kept one clean sheet at a World Cup, Australia, and that means 17 games and only one clean sheet. Now that the French are level as we approach the half-hour mark on TalkSport. 1-1. Moy shanks an attempted clearance downfield, but he's helped out by Behic. Up it goes to halfway, but Duke can't control it, and Pavard will collect. Don't forget TalkSport breakfast tomorrow when you wake up, 6 a.m. Ali McCoy and Laura Woods, and Andros Townsend's going to be joining the show from 7 o'clock in the morning to give his views on England, the World Cup, and much more besides. That's TalkSport breakfast live from here in Qatar, 6 a.m. in the morning, and White and Jordan also coming live from Qatar straight after that at 10 a.m. appointment to listen radio, as is this, because the French are not having it all their own way in this first half. It is 1-1. They've got themselves level, and Mbappe, tricky as always, jinks in field, rides a challenge of Moy and finds Griezmann at the edge of the centre circle, just casually strokes it out to the left-hand side, and Rabiot has now got 3 goals in his last 8 appearances for the French. Rabiot, and now picked up by Griezmann at the edge of the D and trying to thread it through to Mbappe, but Mbappe was just going one way, the ball went the other, and Ryan could collect for Australia. One apiece here.
Yeah, Socceroos look as though their confidence is just being shaken a little bit, I think, with that equaliser and subsequent chance afterwards from Giroud. They've got to make sure they discover the composure. They're still well and truly in this game.
Atkinson, the right back, under pressure from Rabiot, and he wins it back, gets a 1-2 with Mbappe, plays it across, and there's goal number 50 for Les Bleus, for Olivier Giroud. They turned it around in the space of 3 or 4 minutes, and Australia, well, architects of their own downfall, giving the ball away in their right back area. Lovely 1-2 between Rabiot and Mbappe, and an unselfish ball across from Rabiot. So Giroud just took it home from 4 yards out. France 2, Australia 1.
Well, I said that their confidence looked as though it had been rocked, and it certainly had. That was only the second time they've been pressed when they've tried to play out, and on both occasions they've looked very, very amateurish, I've got to say. Really poor passing to each other, missed controls, and all of a sudden it was just too easy to take it off them, and numbers overload in the middle of the goal, and Giroud couldn't have missed from about 6 or 7 yards out. Rabiot, great pullback to him.
As I mentioned, half a century of goals for Olivier Giroud. He's only one behind Thierry Henry now in the all-time list, and the oldest player in World Cup history for Les Bleus. Puts them 2-1 up here on TalkSport, and the FIFA rankings now look a little more realistic.
Yeah, the Aussies
against 48.
Sorry, Dave. The Aussies have really got to discover some composure about their play. You know, they're looking very nervous in possession, and any form of press at all is making them sort of very squirmish.
Just over 5 minutes between the two French goals from Rabiot and Giroud. The French are back in control, trying to defend their trophy. Soutar for Australia, trying to pass to the centre circle for McGree, but it's easily picked out by Pavard, and now Pavard gets down to the edge of his own penalty area, passes back for Hugo Lloris. Now it's with Upamecano. It's a high press from Australia here. Jackson Irving putting Upamecano under pressure. And the clearance only finds Aaron Lloyd trying to drive it into the area, but Mitchell Duke caught in his heels a little bit there, Stuart Pearce.
Well, he went for the ball initially, Dance, and then stopped. And I'm thinking, you're still going to get there if you keep going. And he just thought it was beyond him, but the spin on the ball has given him every opportunity.
But instead, it's back with the French, and Pavard clears up to the halfway line. Giroud chests it down neatly for Rabiot. Two goal scorers combining. All up to halfway on, flicked by Mbappe to get Hernandez away down the left-hand side. He now backheels it for Mbappe. They're starting to get the tricks out now, the French, at 2-1 up, with just over 10 minutes to half-time on TalkSport. Rabiot passes to the centre circle for Dembélé. Pavard's gone ahead of him, gives it back to the Barcelona man Dembélé. Now Griezmann wants off Barca. They start to Olé, completed passes now, the French fans away to our left. Chouameni out to the left hand side, and Hernandez hugging that far touchline. Gives it back to Chouameni. Just content to pass the ball around at the moment. The French not looking to break the lines at the moment, but now Konate strokes the ball strongly out to Dembélé on the right wing, cuts in field onto his left foot, then plays it back in field to the centre of the half, and Rabiot. Chouameni takes over. Out again to Theo Hernandez, who's seen a lot of the ball since coming on for his brother. Plays another 1-2 with Mbappe. Chouameni comes in field. Griezmann just ahead of him, but he lays it off instead for Rabiot. Now Griezmann picks it up. Left-hand corner of the area, sudden injection of pace. Gets Mbappe involved. Rolls it back to the edge of the area, and Griezmann gets in Giroud's way, who was waiting for the ball to run through to his right foot, but Griezmann just got a toe end on the ball, and Australia could get it clear. 2-1 France.
Yeah, super pullback there from Mbappe, and he's drifting into a sort of inside left position, and I'm thinking, more importantly for him, if he stayed wide, he could create a little bit better for his team, you know, but I think he's looking to drift in to get a goal for himself.
That's Stuart Pearce, you can hear alongside me, Ian Danter here at the Al Janoub Stadium, where it is France 2, Australia 1. We have less than 10 minutes to go until the break here on TalkSport. Dembélé looking to outpace Besic. Great pace from Dembélé. Pull into the box, driven goals by Mbappe. Comes back to Giroud for ricochet. It's landed in Rosette from Olivier Giroud. And he puts his shirt over his face and then pretends to hit the shot a bit better with an air shot as Australia prepare the goal kick. 2-1.
Yeah, being a member of the guild of fullbacks, I'm cringing for the Aussie fullbacks at the moment. I mean, Dembélé pushed the ball and probably give his opponent 4 or 5 yards of space and a head start, and it just couldn't stay with him. And that's the key for the French. Get it out wide to the two key players and let them do their wizardry and get in the box.
There is a Mexican wave going around the Al Janoub at the moment. That's the first one I've seen this tournament, and I don't see that as a sign of boredom, because there's nothing boring going on here. It's been a really intriguing 36 minutes or so. Australia took the lead through Craig Goodwin, but goals from Rabiot and Giroud have put the holders in front. Poor touch from Mitchell Duke, who's had very little to do, the Australian striker, in this opening half, but he's now making a run down the middle of the field as Sutar wins it back. Heavy touch from Jackson Irvine, and then Chouameni can't keep the ball in play on the far touchline, and Australia have just got to refocus, reset and start again, Stuart Pearce.
Yeah, they have, exactly that. I mean, they'll have opportunities to play the ball through the thirds. If I was doing a scouting report from somebody about to play the French, I would say I don't really think they want to pressure hard from the front. So you'll get chance to play the ball, make sure you keep it, play through the thirds, and you'll get opportunities to switch play or make runs beyond the French back line, because it's not a straight back line, if you like. You know, they're creating spaces, and the Aussies can get in there, but they've got to be a bit cuter with their passing.
Moy finds Behic, and back it goes to Rowles. Now Jackson Irvine comes deep to pick up the ball for Australia. Midway point of his own half. Little 1-2 with Riley McGree. Now Rowles there again. Finds Behic. The left back from Dundee United finds his Scottish Premiership compatriot. Now Goodwin gives it back to Behic. They've still got it inside their own half here, Australia. The back four passing it between themselves. And again, as Stuart Pearce was saying, no great high press from the French particularly. Giroud is there, but not really hassling and harrying the ball.
Yeah, but when it did come, there's panic sets in with the Aussies, you know. That's what the French have got to say. Look, if we want to score a goal, the key is in the press. That's where the goal's going to come from, because the Australians, they'll move the ball. If they're under no pressure, they'll hit a raking diagonal where the goal come from. But if you press them, they've looked very, very poor.
Throw into France. Midway point of their own half on this near side, the French right. They're attacking left to right as we look high up in this bottom of the second tier of this two-tier stand that goes right round the bowl of the Al Janoub Stadium. And as Adrian was saying earlier, this stadium's going to be reduced in capacity after the World Cup. Now away comes Mbappe, fleet of foot down the left-hand side, backpedaling Atkinson, ball into the centre of the box, and it's lifted over the bar. And I think that was Dembele in the end, it was, who skied it from around the penalty spot, trying to keep the ball down as it bounced in front of him. Goal kick Australia. France lead 2-1 on TalkSport.
Yeah, there's a blueprint for a goal or a chance being created, and it's just switching play, getting it wide to one of the wide areas, make the box and arrive in the box somewhere around the penalty spot, and you'll score goals tonight. Matthew
Ryan bids his two centre-halves to go downfield rather than have a short goal kick, and then he plays a short goal kick anyway to Behic. He gives it back to Ryan. Dembele herring after him, but he does manage to clear his lines, Ryan. Flicked on the right-hand side by Leckie, but nobody going through the middle for Australia, so plenty of time for Chouameni to calm things down. And the ball's back with Konate, and now Rabiot. Been much more consistent for Juventus this season, Adrien Rabiot. Was a little bit in and out when he was at Paris Saint-Germain and at clubs before that, but he's rediscovered his consistency in Serie A. Here's Chouameni on the halfway line for France. Plays a square ball to Pavard, the right back. Goes back into his own half for Konate. Square for Upamecano. Ball down the left-hand side, picks out Mbappe from Griezmann, brilliantly bound. He's just stopped for a moment, Mbappe. Rolls it back to Griezmann, into the centre of the half, and Chouameni for France, who lead by 2-1. Pavard gives it back to Chouameni, being watched by McGree. So it goes back to Pavard once again. And then back it goes. The body language of Mitchell Duke as the ball just got away from him spoke volumes. Real frustration from the Aussie striker. And they give it away again, Australia. Chouameni finds Dembele, right-hand corner of the area. Pulls it back, looking for two players running in. One was Mbappe, but the ball didn't reach him. Duke can't get to the loose ball as it squirts up to halfway. And he looks incredibly frustrated, Mitchell Duke, slapping his arms against his thighs as if to say, what do I have to do to get involved in this game?
Yeah, it's the hardest position on the pitch when you're getting battered by a team, the centre forward, because you never get a touch of the ball and all you're doing is running around.
Now Dembele trying to get away from Behic. He's won the ball cleanly, getting into the area right hand side, finds Mbappe, back heels it to Griezmann at the edge of the area, and he snakes a drive just wide with his left foot, and it's a goal kick to Australia. A few claims for a foul on Behic by Dembele, nothing given by the South African referee, and with 3 minutes to half time on TalkSport, it remains France 2, Australia 1. Stuart Pearce.
Yeah, you can only see this scoreline being accelerated by the French at the moment. The Australians very, very loose in possession, and, well, you can feel the excitement every time the ball arrives, either at Mbappe's feet out wide or who's man on this side. You can feel the crowd get excited, even if it's about 55 yards from the goal.
Now Duke tries to get involved and wins a header down the right-hand side. The ball's hit against him, consequently by Daya Upamecano. Out it goes for a throw, which Theo Hernandez will take on the far side of the field, midway point of the French half. They lead 2-1. Looking for an obvious target. Giroud's come short for a throw if he wants to use him, and that's where the throw goes, and Giroud just heads it back to Griezmann in a similar position. He drives in field, gives it back to Konate. Konate threads the ball over halfway, looking for Mbappe, who moved into the inside right channel for a moment, but Australia win it back. McGree finds Goodwin, and he goes back for Rowles and Suter, the two centre halves. Approaching half time then, France 2, Australia 1, and it's on the right hand side with Matthew Leckie, whose industry down that right for Australia created the opening goal. Rowles and Suter combine again. The two centre halves pass the ball now to Jackson Irvine. Atkinson down the right hand side. Moy with a neat ball round the corner, but it doesn't find its intended target, and here come France again down the left hand side, but then they go back into their own half, and Lloris gets a rare touch in this first half. All he's really had to do is pick the ball out the back of his net so far. Yeah, the Socceroos shown an air of confidence early in the game, but I think the two goals, well, certainly the first goal, has really shook their confidence. And even with the ball, that there's a series of passing, but you can tell that there's a nervousness about the passing, the control, even the basics in the game that they're not nailing at the moment. They got 11 successive wins in their qualification campaign, Australia. As Adrian was saying, it's the Asian Confederation that they play in. They used to be in Oceania, but they switched allegiance, thinking it would be easier to make World Cups, and that's actually been borne out by the fact that this is their 5th successive World Cup tournament, the Socceroos. Now Griezmann played it behind on the right hand side of the area, lobs it across to Mbappe. Oh, how's he missed? How has he fired that over the bar from 5 yards out? Brilliantly found by Griezmann, who made a wonderful run down the right hand side of the box, across the face of goal. Mbappe sliding in, somehow guided it over the top. 2-1 France. Well, Mbappe's just walking, looking up to the gods and basically laughing. He cannot believe it himself. Griezmann, brilliant ball across the face of goal, and from literally the 6-yard box, albeit on the volley. A player of his quality, my goodness me, he'll regret that one. But they are in front, the French, so it doesn't hurt them too badly as Ryan clears the ball downfield. Headed up by Giroud, helped back into the Australia half by Upamecano. Moy wins it back for Australia. That's neatly done, and Leckie can give chase down the right hand side. We're into added time at the end of this first period on TalkSport, and there are 6 minutes that are being added on by the South African officials. 2-1 to France. Australia have possession just inside the France half with Aaron Moy, playing his football for Celtic these days. Also plied his trade for Huddersfield in their promotion times under David Wagner. Now Behic down the left hand side of the box for McGree. He can pull the cross back to the far post. The heads go up. Oh, and it comes off the post from Jackson Irvine and drifts wide for a goal kick. Time stood still as Riley McGree floated the ball in for the left hand side. Irvine was coming in, got his head to it, and Lloris just watched it sail past him, clip the outside of the post and go behind for a French goal kick. 2-1. I just can't believe what I'm watching. Literally a really lofted cross to the far post. He rose and everyone just left it. Lloris sort of half left it, and it hit the outside of the post and just wide. You can hear the gasps of the fans around the Al Janoub as they see that replay of the ball clipping the outside of Lloris's right hand post. So a life for France at the end of this first half. We're into the 6 minutes of minimum stoppage time that our referee from South Africa has added on, and it's a feature of this World Cup. I'm sure you've spotted it already, just how much minimum stoppage time is being added by officials at the end of both halves. We've seen 10s and 12s already in this tournament. Here's Moy for Australia, finding McGree in the centre of his own half, lays it back to Harry Souttar. McGree again, he's got Griezmann at his back, he knows it, so he turns it out to the Australian right, and Jackson Irvine still inside his own half here, and back it goes to Rowles. Behic calling for it on this near side, but Moy takes over. They think they've got some of their composure back now, Australia.
Well, I think that's borne out by the French, who've decided to not bother pressing and waiting for half time. I mean, I think the French, if they play against better teams and allow that sort of space to create and play passes under no pressure, like we've just seen from Moy, who got it wrong, but a better pass and someone's in the corner flag, they'll have a problem.
Stuart Pearce is absolutely spot on. When the Australians had possession just now inside their own half, Giroud and Dembele and Mbappe were stood like statues. There was no desire to jockey or close down the space. Pavard has a throw for the French down this near side. Giroud tries to help it on, but only helps it out of play. Behic trying to get on with it for the Aussies. Souttar looks for Aaron Moy, as he often does. Moy, he sees the space closed down by Griezmann. Now Griezmann's the one that does look to close down the space. He's always the one that looks to be putting an opponent under pressure. Now the ball down the field looking for Mitchell Duke to give chase. Konate's gone with him. Konate put the ball up for a throw right down by the corner flag on the Australian right. 2-1 to France on TalkSport.
Yeah, as I say, really good ball then, but under no pressure whatsoever, and I even think players in advanced areas for Australia have got the freedom to make runs unopposed.
Ball's with Matthew Leckie receiving the throw, but having to turn back towards the halfway line under pressure, but he's done well. He's kept it and moved infield to the centre of the half, floats it out to this near side looking for Goodwin, but Pavard gets a calmed cushion header down, and away goes Dembele, gets the afterburners on and charges down this near side. The French right, 3 Aussie players go with him, and McGree, one of them, wins it back. Poor touch from Moy though, and Les Bleus have it back almost immediately on the halfway line with Chouameni. Turns it away from Duke and finds Konate. Out to the left hand side, kept in play by Hernandez, and Mbappe takes over. He elects rather to sprint down the left hand side, just play a couple of passes with Chouameni. As we edge towards half time here on TalkSport, the French just trying to control things and ease their way to the break. Bit of pressure on halfway for Upamecano from Duke, but he's played a 1-2 with Pavard and now squares it for his former Leipzig teammate Konate. Of course, they both now play at different clubs. Upamecano at Bayern, Konate at Liverpool in the Premier League. Don't forget the Premier League's back Boxing Day. Every game of the Boxing Day fixture list, 26th, 27th, 28th, live on the TalkSport network. Once the World Cup is done and dusted and the Premier League returns. Former Premier League player Aaron Moy in possession for Australia, just shy of the halfway line. Little run down the right hand side from Leckie. He then stopped his run as Moy hit the pass, and it drifts way past him, and Lloris can claim. And we are almost out of time at the 6 minimum minutes that have been added on at the end of this first half. Deschamps, arms folded. Graham Arnold is opposite number, hands on hips. Neither manager looking particularly contented down beneath us in their technical areas. Look at the watch from our referee Victor Gomez. We play on with the score at 2-1 to France. It's Griezmann just shy of the halfway line, plays the ball back to Upamecano, floats the ball looking for Mbappe down the left hand side. Once again brings the ball down out of the sky with consummate ease, but then he's dispossessed by Atkinson, who did a good job that time, the right back, as the referee blows the whistle for half time. And early on we wondered whether the curse of the World Cup holders might be striking again, because the French went behind to an early goal from Craig Goodwin inside 10 minutes after good work down the right hand side from Matthew Leckie. But 2 goals in 5 minutes around the half-hour mark put the French in front. Adrien Rabiot with his 3rd goal in his last 8 appearances for his country with a header for 1-1, and then after a bit of dilly-dallying by Australia in their right-back position. Picked off by Rabiot. Lovely 1-2 with Mbappe. And the ball slid home for goal number 50 in international colours for Olivier Giroud. So the half-time score here on TalkSport at the Al Janoub is France 2, Australia 1. Thank you, Adrian. Australia get us back underway in their gold shirts, green shorts and white socks, kicking from left to right as we look high up in the bottom of the second tier of the Al Janoub Stadium, pretty much bang on halfway. So they'll be attacking the end where the Australian hardcore support is to our right. France in their dark blue shirts, white shorts, red socks, attacking the goal to our left where the tricolours are very much in evidence. Hugo Lloris is the French goalkeeper. Pavard, Upamecano, Konate and Theo Hernandez at left back. He came on for his brother Lucas, who was off injured early in the first half, actually when Australia scored their goal. Chouameni and Rabiot holding in midfield, and then Dembele, Griezmann and Mbappe behind Giroud. For Australia, they haven't made any half-time changes. For Graham Arnold, Ryan is their goalkeeper. Atkinson, Suter, Rowles and Behic in a back four. Irvin, Moy and McGree, three in midfield. Leckie, Duke and Goodwin up front. And France already trying to take control of the early stages of this second half. Mbappe on the near side to us now. He's dispossessed by Nathaniel Atkinson, and he will bring the ball down the right hand side, looks to find a teammate. It's picked up by Jackson Irvine, drives it into the area. Duke trying to go for it, but Upamecano got there first, and it's picked up instead by Leckie. Leckie's got Jackson Irvine holding on the right hand side. Atkinson's gone again down the right hand side to the byline, tries to keep it in play by the corner flag. He's done well, Atkinson, and hits the ball against Upamecano, wins a corner early in this second half. Australia's first corner of the game. They trail 2-1. Stuart Pearce.
Yeah, as I say, the Aussies will need to make sure that they steady the ship a little bit. It's a very nervous ending to the half, albeit hitting the outside of the post. But it looks as though to me the French have got more goals in them. I must say I've been a little bit disappointed with the Australians, I've got to say. They've had opportunities to hurt the French. That's more down to the French not really wanting to do the hard yards at the front end of the pitch, I don't think.
You can hear the shrill blast of referee Gomez's whistle, just having a word with a couple of players standing in and around Hugo Lloris. Meantime, Craig Goodwin is very, very carefully spotting the ball down at the edge of the quadrant. He's going to send in a left-footed in-swing. A couple of Australian players making a run across to the near post. It's heading away at that near post by Griezmann, and Stuart Pearce shakes his head.
Yeah, really, but the great opportunities they are, you know, they've worked hard to force a corner, and all of a sudden, well, you know, the French defenders had to bend down to actually head it at the near post.
Back it goes to Behic, the left back for Australia, left-hand corner of his own area. Gives it back to the left foot of Ryan. He didn't particularly want it there, I don't think, but he still managed to get it clear for Australia up to halfway. Griezmann brings it down, just flicks it into the path of Pavard, who plays a 1-2 with Giroud, tries to get away. That's good defending by Aziz Behic to win it back for Australia, and then he just passes it straight out of play for a French throw. But he did well initially to win the ball back, Behic.
Yeah, he did. He done really well, and it's just the little finite things, you know, the difference between, you know, good and average, or good and world class, if you like. The weight of the pass, the side of the ball player you play the pass, and the cuteness of what you do, just thinking about every pass. It's not just I'll finish with a ball there, you can have it now.
3 minutes gone in the second half, live on TalkSport. France 2, Australia 1, and the ball's back inside the French half with Upamecano. Chouameni shows for him just shy of the halfway line, and he sends it out to the right hand side, far side from us, and Benjamin Pavard. Now it's Upamecano again, just to the left of the centre circle. Griezmann starts to make a run straight ahead of him, but he's gone further left to Theo Hernandez, who's got him behind Atkinson to the byline, pulls it back, misses out all the blue shirts, but Chouameni at the edge of the area tried to drive it goalwards, and it was blocked by McGree inside his own penalty area, and Australia managed to get it up to halfway.
Yeah, good play there. Once again, punched down the width.
Well, here's Hernandez again for France down the left-hand side. Giroud with an overhead kick just wide of the post, set himself, and a scissor kick from the man who's got a half-century of international goals with the one he scored tonight. Very nearly joined Henry on 51. Still 2-1 France.
Well, how many times have we seen Giroud with that sort of semi-bicycle kick, if you like, and he set himself up beautifully. Had a long time to watch the ball, got decent contact on it, but just couldn't put it inside the far post.
It was a good 2 yards wide in the end, but another shot on from France, who lead by 2-1, live on Talk Sport, as Australia bring the ball downfield, and it's with Behic. Early ball looking to pick out Duke, but a good touch from Upamecano to give it back to Lloris. Not the best clearance from Lloris, and it will break in midfield for Riley McGree. McGree out to the left-hand side. Back it goes to Aaron Moy, who turns away from Griezmann for a moment. Finds Jackson Irvine. Shoveled out to this near side, and Leckie, the right winger, level with the edge of the area, comes inside away from Hernandez, tries to play a 1-2 with McGree. Felt he was fouled, referee says nothing doing, and now there is a foul given, and French have a free kick rather than the Australians, and they will take it short by Chouameni, and Upamecano will just casually walk the ball clear. 2-1 to the French.
Yeah, I would suspect that Deschamps would like this third goal. You know, certainly at the back end of that half, when the Aussies hit the outside of the post, he would be a little bit nervous, and I think he'd like the third goal to come just to put the game to bed. You feel as though it is a foregone conclusion, but until you get that 2-goal lead.
Out to the right hand side it goes for France, and Dembele looking to run at Behic, comes in field, tries to drive it across to Mbappe. Timely interception by Atkinson, but it still reaches Mbappe in the end. Left hand corner of the area, skips in field, just chips the ball to the far post, looking for Pavard, who come forward. It's half cleared by Australia, and then Griezmann with a wasted header, and now there's a counter attack on if Australia can play the ball right, but it just drifts out of play for a French throw on halfway. I was looking back, talked about the World Cup curse. World Cup holders have won just 3 out of 12 opening fixtures at World Cups. 5 defeats and 4 draws for World Cup holders in their opening fixture, but it's going France's way at the moment. It wasn't at first, but they lead 2-1 with 7 gone in the second half, live on Talk Sport. Here's Theo Hernandez, finds Mbappe, gives it back to Hernandez, who's caught by Irvine, and Irvine's going to be spoken to at the very least by the referee. No instant yellow card, not seen a yellow yet in this game, and they've been brandished quite regularly during this tournament so far, Stuart.
And that probably goes to show in many ways how the Australians have not got to grips with the wide players. You would fully expect if they were a little bit tighter, there should have been at least 2 or 3 yellow cards being brandished, but they've just not been tight with them.
So the French have a free kick midway point of the Australian half. It's about 7 or 8 yards in from the near touchline to us on the French left. Mbappe standing over it, and the Australians are holding their line right on the 18-yard line as it's drilled into the far post, but overhit by Mbappe, goes out on the full for a goal kick to Australia. France lead 2-1 with 8 minutes gone in the second half.
Yeah, you can't help thinking that the French have got 2 or 3 or 4 more gears to go up if they had to. I think this game has almost put them in semi-bad habits, if you like.
Well, that's the dangerous thing, as you mentioned earlier, with the fact that there's only 1 goal in this game. And Australia in possession with Leckie, lays it off to Irvine. Now it's Atkinson looking for an option, holds his hands out, says who wants it, drills a fully 60-yard ball across to Behic on the left-hand side. Now Moy takes over. Moy was very influential in this game for the first 20 minutes or so. Not quite as influential since then as the French turned the screw. And he's back in possession here for Australia, just inside the French half to the left of centre. Plays a 1-2 with Rowles, and then just dinks the ball in field for Duke. Laid off to McGree. Now Mitchell Duke again. Too heavy a touch, and that might be a yellow card for a very heavy challenge. And
he's caught him, Dance.
He's caught Dembele badly as he strained for a challenge. Yellow card, fairly predictable outcome for that challenge by Mitchell Duke on Ousmane Dembele. French have a free kick inside their own half, and they lead 2-1.
In all honesty, if that was an England player that had just made that challenge, I would fear that he'd be walking now. I really would. I think there's a little bit of tolerance been given there.
Free kick taken short. Dembele's none the worse for wear, thankfully. Didn't need any treatment, and he's back on his feet. And it's with Theo Hernandez just shy of the halfway line. Goes back to Upamecano. Now he plays the ball along the deck through the halfway line to Giroud. Just calmly gives it back to Hernandez on the left-hand side. French doing everything very calmly and with a considered fashion at the moment. Now Griezmann suddenly injects some pace down the right-hand side, but the ball isn't sent through to him. Chouameni in the centre circle, running across the line from right to left. Easy ball to Hernandez is on, gives it back to Chouameni, then laid off to Upamecano. Now he tries a diagonal ball into out, looking for Dembele, but it's overhit, and the Australians have a throw, and there is going to be a change for the Australians. They've elected to bring on Jason Cummings at this point, and after his yellow card that he just got issued with, Mitchell Duke is the man being withdrawn. So it's only his second appearance, Jason Cummings, who plays for Central Coast Mariners, scored on his debut against New Zealand back in September, was named as an A-League All-Star this year for his performances for Central Coast Mariners. But he's on 2 friendly caps for Scotland, but changed his allegiance to Australia, wearing number 25 for the Socceroos, and he tries to win a flick header as soon as he comes on. It's gone out of play for a throw, so Graham Arnold's blinked and shuffled his pack here, Stuart Pearce.
Yes, like for like really, formation exactly the same. I don't know whether the booking had played a part in that at all, who knows.
Possibly. It's hard to tell, isn't it, sometimes. Managers can get the jitters if they see one of their players on a yellow. Don't think Brian Clough ever had that with you, did he?
No, he would always take me off before I got a yellow, to be fair. Be on the safe side.
Upamecano up to halfway for France. They lead 2-1. Square for Griezmann. He just lays it off for Konate. Better 1 and 2 touch football from France at the moment. And add Dembele on the right hand side. Flicks it in field to Pavard. Rabiot takes over. Back to the halfway line again. Australia have every man behind the ball as it's to the edge of the centre circle in their own half. Out to Theo Hernandez again. Touched in field for Chouameni. Keeps the ball away from Cummings. Early ball in field for Rabiot. Put him under pressure as McGree tried to take the ball off his toe. But the French still have it, and that's a neat ball from Konate to pick out Dembele on the right wing. He cuts in field. Pavard now going on the overlap. He's used as a decoy. Ball goes into the box looking for Hernandez, but it's headed clear by Leckie, back doing his defending for Australia. But the French win the second ball and have it again. Here's Rabiot. Finds Chouameni just ahead of the centre circle. Looking to pick the lock once again, France. At 2-1 up as we tick round towards the hour mark. 57 minutes gone on TalkSport. Griezmann lays the ball back to Pavard. Dembele again hugging that right touchline. The ball in field easily picked off, but then the ball forward from Australia is won back by Konate. Dembele again looking to weave his way in field to get away from some green and gold opponents. Now it's with Upamecano's. France switch play from right to left. Back it goes to Upamecano just by the centre circle. Chouameni drives forward for a moment. Dembele takes over. Pavard again willing to work on the right hand side as the overlap. Just plays a 1-2 in the end with Dembele, and they're being very, very patient here, the French, inside the Australian half. Now Rabiot looking for Chouameni to shovel it out to Pavard. Heavy touch, but he still managed to keep it away from an opponent. Ball's back on halfway, and then Konate gets it all wrong. And after what was a very nice controlled 30 seconds or so of possession, needlessly put it out of play, the French, but they lead 2-1.
Yeah, they do. And I would say from the Australian point of view, if they could stay in the game as it stands and keep this, the tighter we get to the end of the game, all of a sudden there might be a last hurrah with very little time for the French to reply. But
Rabiot bursting down the left-hand side, gets away from Atkinson. Very fierce cross, way over the head of Giroud. But Dembele will pick it up right-hand corner of the box, sends it back to Griezmann at the edge of the D. And Mbappe tries to heel it back to him. But Australia gets it clear. Leckie's giving chase gamely out to this near touchline, but it goes out of play right on the halfway line for a French throw. Penny for the thoughts of Didier Deschamps right now, Stuart Pearce?
Get me a third goal, please, so I can stand here and relax a little bit more. Because these games are horrible when there's so much the dominant force, France, in this game. and probably their own semi-laziness, to just want to see the game out and not do the dirty work, has made the task that little bit harder, and he'll be desperate for the third goal to go in. All of a sudden you can relax a bit, make the odd change if you want to.
Benjamin Pavard in the centre circle for France. They lead 2-1. Chouameni almost got dispossessed by Irvine. He's gone down in a heap, but the referee says play on. And Mbappe plays the 1-2 with Giroud. Goes for goal, and it's deflected out of play. It actually came off Mbappe last of all for a goal kick. Suddenly they got the pace on. He thinks it's a corner kick. And in fact, the referee has suddenly agreed with him, having given a goal kick. Now he's given a corner kick.
Who actually guides the referee to change his mind? Because literally that's what he's done, changed his mind.
Well, the assistant on this near side is the one that can't go past the halfway line, and the assistant on the other side, of course, is 60 yards away from play. So he's changed his mind.
Does he get any VAR guidance? Surely not.
I'm not sure that's the way it works.
So
before Mbappe can strike the corner in, the referee again seeing some bumping and barging inside the penalty area that he doesn't like, and eventually it will be the goal kick, and Mbappe retrieves a spare ball just down by the corner flag, down to our left-hand side. It'll be a right-footed in-swinger from Mbappe into the near post and comfortably cleared away. Cummings will give chase. Adrian's just reminded me that Jason Cummings scored 2 goals for Shrewsbury against Liverpool in the FA Cup just before lockdown. It was January 2020 in the FA Cup. So Liverpool fans might remember the blonde-haired number 25 for Australia, who's come on to replace Mitchell Duke, but he's not had much involvement as we tick past the hour mark on TalkSport. 2-1 to France. Mbappe again brings the ball down out of the sky like it's the most natural thing in the world. Comes in field to about 25 yards out, plays the ball through a couple of Australian players' attentions, and then the ball's worked back to Upamecano. Now, lovely run down the left-hand side for Fernandes. He's picked out by Upamecano. Plays it back to Mbappe, tries the drive. It's blocked by Moy. Griezmann trying to keep it in play tight to the dead ball line, and he does win a corner of Jackson Irvine this time. It's 2-1 to France.
I'll give you a little insight into a fullback's mentality. When that diagonal ball goes cross-field, you're desperate for them to miscontrol it and that ball roll between you. And every time tonight that ball's been played, Mbappe's control's been absolutely exemplary.
Left-footed out-swinging corner from Antoine Griezmann for France. Header goes up from Upamecano, and he got underneath it and it went over the bar. It's Konate, actually, forgive me, who got the header in, and it's a goal kick to Australia. We played 62 minutes on TalkSport. Just got underneath it. Rose well, Ibrahim Konate, just couldn't keep the header down.
Yeah, it was a super leap, I've got to say. He was head and shoulders above anybody in the 6-yard box, but no guidance on the header whatsoever.
Didn't make his debut till June. Ibrahim Konate didn't play in any of the World Cup qualifiers that saw France get here. And of course, with other players like Kimpembe, he's seized his opportunity for the French, who lead 2-1. If you're just tuning into TalkSport at the World Cup, 63 minutes gone at the Al Janoub Stadium. Ian Danta, Stuart Pearce with you. Very, very close run thing as Hugo Lloris cleared the ball downfield as Jason Cummings was herring in at him. Australia have it back on halfway. Neat turn from Aaron Moy, gets away from 2 players and then loses the ball, and then a foul by McGree on Chouameni, and they take the free kick quickly, the French. It's in the centre circle, and they put it forward to Mbappe, who again brings it down left hand side of the area, steps inside Atkinson, tries to drive it goalwards, but Atkinson blocks it well. Comes out again to the France left hand side, and Theo Hernandez. Chouameni back for Konate, plays a little 1-2 with Antoine Griezmann, works it out to Pavard on the right. Further out, stationed on the right wing, is Dembele, gives the ball back in field to Pavard. Now it's laid off for Konate. Chouameni driving through to the inside left position, out to the left wing, and Theo Hernandez. Again, Australia got everybody behind the ball. Late challenge by Jackson Irvine on Chouameni, who's writhing in agony on the deck just down beneath us. And Lloris elects to put the ball out of play so that the Real Madrid player can get some treatment, clutching his right ankle, it seems to me. France lead 2-1 here.
Yeah, it does. And as I say, we've ticked on here. I don't think they've had too many real efforts, the French, in this second half, but there's a touch of nervousness from the French coach, I'm sure, the closer they get to that 90-minute mark.
Don't forget 4 more World Cup matches tomorrow. Make sure you're with TalkSport Breakfast with Laura Woods and Gabby Bonderhall from 6 a.m. in the morning. Andros Townsend's out here too in Qatar, as well as Laura and Gabby, and he'll join the fun from 7 a.m. in the morning. Jim White and Simon Jordan, they're out here too from 10 a.m. and then we have live World Cup football throughout the day. Over on TalkSport 2 we have Morocco against Croatia, Germany Japan on TalkSport. That's at 1 p.m. At 4 p.m. Spain against Costa Rica, and then at this time tomorrow night you'll be listening to Belgium against Canada with Alex Crook and Dean Ashton, your commentary team, as the Belgians take their bow. Back underway. Chouamani's back out there, none the worse for wear, thankfully. France lead 2-1, 25 minutes to go, and Chouamani has possession in the centre circle, keeps it away from Cummings. Now the ball's played across to Rabiot, who got France level just shy of the half-hour mark. Really not much has changed about Australia, given that like-for-like switch, Stuart Pearce. Cummings is essentially no different to Duke at the moment, is he?
No, basically he's chasing a piece of paper up front. I don't think he's had a touch of the ball as yet, and his job really is to just be a barrier.
Griezmann turns away from Moy, plays a 1-2 with Giroud, then floats a lovely pass out to Hernandez, level with the area left-hand side. He plays a 1-2 with Mbappe, gets to the byline, pulls it back. Griezmann off the line! Brilliant clearance from Behic to prevent France going 3-1 up. Griezmann he's got hands on hips, he felt certain he was going to add to France's tally, but the left-back came across and spared Australia's brushes. 2-1.
Brilliant play by the French there, up the tempo magnificently well, give and go.
Well, here's Hernandez again, finding Mbappe, driving it across the face of goal. No one there to touch it in. It was too close to the goalkeeper, but Dembele's picked it up. Down the right-hand side of the box, cross in, Mbappe! 3-1 to France! And the holders have got themselves off to a flyer as Kylian Mbappe, of course, notches for Les Bleus. He tried a shot across the face of goal. Australia couldn't clear, and then Dembele floated the ball back into the box from the right-hand side. Mbappe climbed highest, and his header went in off the post. From France 3, Australia 1.
Got to say, the French up the tempo there on those last couple of phases of play, and the Australian backline, who've been pretty genuine, I've got to say, certainly the fullbacks as well. They've been pretty genuine in their endeavours to try and stay with the French, but when they really up the tempo of their play just then, they struggled to deal with it. And Mbappe just drifted between the two centre halves and just headed in from probably about 5 yards out.
But he failed to score at Euro 2020, Kylian Mbappe. He became France's youngest player when they played Australia in Kazan 4 years ago. And he's just scored his first goal of the tournament, and now there's a more contented, relaxed smile on the face of Didier Deschamps, as France now have a 2-goal cushion here at the Al Janoub Stadium in just south of Doha. Here on TalkSport at the World Cup. Just over 20 minutes to go then, and Australia's job has just got a whole lot more difficult.
It certainly has. You would say game, set and match now, certainly, and from the French's point of view, I think they'd like the feel-good factor of maybe 2 or 3 more goals if they possibly could, just to turn around and say, you know what, we've got a feel-good factor about the group.
Well, what you're talking about is a statement win, in the same way that England beat Iran by 6-2.
Yeah, I don't think the performances has been there for that. I don't think they've worked hard enough as a team, personally, to have that. But what they've shown, Dance, is the fact of the cutting edge in this team that we thought that they had is there for all to see, and they haven't had to use it a great deal, but when they have, they've looked explosive.
Remember, it was a draw between the other 2 teams in this group, between Tunisia and Denmark, earlier tonight. You heard that live on TalkSport. French are seizing control of this group. 3-1 up as Australia come forward. The ball's fed into Leckie at the edge of the area, trying to control it on his chest, but the ball just bounced away from him, and Theo Hernandez brings it away. He's caught by Jackson Irvine as he tried to stop and turn inside. Irvine holds his hands out apologetically, and the referee just has a quiet word in his show, like probably saying, one more and you're in the books, son. 3-1 France.
I think there's a tolerance there from the referee, suggesting that, you know, I'm giving you a little bit of leeway because you're being outclassed potentially.
Whether the referee's accessible like that, I don't know.
Or the French manager, by the way.
Exactly. Upamecano out to Hernandez, left hand side, as France look to control this game still further. Less than 20 minutes to play. 3-1 they lead. Maybe this is a chance for Deschamps to give some other players an opportunity from the bench. Oh, here's Mbappe just dummying to get away from Atkinson, driving for the byline, cross to the far post. Giroud! 4-1! Brilliant work from Mbappe! And Olivier Giroud moves on to 51 French goals, drawing level with the great Thierry Henry, but it was put on a plate for him by Kylian Mbappe, and the downward header, Matt Ryan could do nothing. The French have gone goal crazy all of a sudden. France 4, Australia 1.
Yeah, I think there's a few teams looking at the French now that might face them in the future. Certainly the two other group teams are saying, who's going to deal and how do we deal with Mbappe? I mean, absolutely electric. His control's fantastic. Received the ball here, deals with it really well, and his pace, just foot over the ball when he creates 2-3 yards for himself. The quality of the cross is magnificent.
And Giroud had the easiest of tasks as the ball was floated across to him. Got in between two Australian defenders, powered home the header. So he moves on to 51 goals for his country, and that prompts a quick double change from Australia. Riley McGree is coming off and Aouar Mabil is coming on in place for Cadiz in Spain. So he's on wearing number 11, and also coming on is a young man who's going to be at Newcastle United come the start of 2023, Garang Kuol, 18 years of age, currently playing for the Central Coast Mariners. Mentioned him before the kick-off. This is only his second appearance, and he's come on to try and, well, protect Australia's goal difference. I guess that's what they need to be worried about at this point. Stuart Pearce, 4-1 down. And
pride, I would say. You know, the French look as though at any given time they can up the tempo, go past people and really sort of push the scoreline up a touch.
The other player going off is the man that put Australia in front, Craig Goodwin, to allow Mabil. In fact, he's only just coming off the field now. I think the referee spotted there were still 11 outfield players out there. So Goodwin's finally gone off. That's a sneaky trick.
It was a good try from the Aussies.
We're back underway. So there's two changes made. McGree and Goodwin off. Mabil and Kuol are on to replace him. And Australia have got 17 minutes left, whilst the French, hungry for more goals, you would imagine, at 4-1 up. But here's Kuol, his first involvement, down the right hand side, tries to tease it down the right hand side of the area for Cummings, but it was just hit too firmly and goes over the dead ball line for a French goal kick. 4-1 the score.
Yeah, it looks like job done for the French. You know, they'll be pleased with the way the game's gone. And Mbappe on the score sheet, Giroud, a couple of really good goals, easy tap in and a header which is his trademark.
If this young man Garang Kuol scores tonight, he will become the second youngest World Cup goal scorer ever after Pelé. Here's another young goal scorer, Kylian Mbappe for the French, looking for a fifth goal. Tries to nutmeg Atkinson, doesn't work. Atkinson stuck to his task and managed to stop the ball going through him, and he clears downfield. Mbappe just seems to be warming to his work as the game goes on for Warner.
Yeah, and credit to Atkinson, he's had a real tough night. I mean, I can't, dress that one over, but he's stuck with it. He's not gone hiding. His positional play's been okay. He just can't deal with the one-on-one scenarios, and he's been outrun.
Ball's back with Konate, and now Lloris drives the ball left-footed up to halfway. It's won back well by Behic, the left back for Australia. Nabil's gone on, is outside. He's just come on as a substitute, but instead Behic has to go back to halfway in his two centre-halves. Suter now gives the ball back to Kai Rolls of Hearts, up to the halfway line, and it was just tidied up there and sent down the right-hand side, looking for Atkinson. Again, the ball's overhit, and he was never going to catch that before it went over the dead ball line. Double change coming up for France at this point, and I can see Youssouf Fofana down there, and also Kingsley Coman, another Bayern Munich player in the French squad, is going to be coming on, and Aurélien Tchouameni is one of those being replaced, and the other is Dembélé. Well, Tchouameni, of course, in the midfield for France, because there's no Kanté, no Pogba. What will be made of his performance tonight, Stuart Pearce?
I think he's been steady away. Really difficult one to sort of quantify, to be quite honest with you. The game's been very, very comfortable for the French. Let's be quite honest with you. They've done not much wrong, I don't think, anyone in a French shirt, but let's be honest with you, they've not been tested in any way, shape or form.
So Coman and Fofana of Monaco are on for the French. And we have 14 minutes to go on TalkSport. France 4, Australia 1. Remember, Australia had the lead, and they had the French worried. What can Jason Cummings do at the moment down the left hand side for the Socceroos? He's hit the ball against Pavard and won a throw for Australia, which Mabil will take down that left hand side. No, he's going to leave it for Behic. Early throw looking for Cummings, but Pavard stepped across and volleyed it clear. Comes back to the right hand corner of the French box, guided down by Rabiot. Neatly done by Fofana, his first involvement, and the ball ends up at the feet of the left back Theo Hernandez. Back it goes for Upamecano. Ball up to Rabiot, just shy of the halfway line. Griezmann tries to get a flick back from Mbappe, but it was poorly timed by Mbappe. Irvine finds Cummings in the centre of the French half, and here come Australia. Leckie down towards the right hand corner of the box. Was he fouled? Yes, he was, says our referee, and a chance to put the ball into the French penalty area. It's 4-1 to Les Bleus.
Yeah, good opportunity here for Moy, just on this right hand side of the box, probably about 24 metres out, I think, looking at the cut of the grass there, and just over it with his right foot.
It is going to be Aaron Moy's delivery. What can he conjure up here for Australia with 12 minutes to go? French holding their line quite high. Clipped in by Moy, headed up and away by Konate. Griezmann helps it further clear from the edge of the area. Leckie's there first and guides it back to the halfway line, where Behic will roll it all the way back to his goalkeeper. As Adrian mentioned earlier in our broadcast, Australia were bottom of their group last time at the World Cup. They do not want to be the whipping boys again in this tournament. They'll play all three games here at this stadium, so they will at least have a feeling of familiarity about being at this stadium.
Or deja vu with the results, the way things are going. I've got to say, I've got not much confidence watching his performance that they're going to break their duck points wise.
Irvine tries to play the ball forward to Cummings. It's won back by Upamecano, who's a surging run up to halfway, and he was fouled. It's going to be a free kick at least, and a yellow card as well issued to Jackson Irvine for that challenge on Upamecano, as he made a driving run up to halfway. Just as he released the ball, a little nibble on his ankles from Jackson Irvine's right boot, and it's a booking. France preparing to take the free kick. Want to take it short, but they're telling Jackson Irvine to get 10 yards back. And back it goes to Upamecano, who was fouled. Gives the ball to Rabiot, who's come a long way, who refused to be on standby for the World Cup 4 years ago, so it's some redemption for him to be front and centre, and have scored 3 goals in his last 8 caps for Didier Deschamps' men. And he's looking for Theo Hernandez with the ball down the right hand side, but Kuol intercepts and he scurries towards the halfway line for Australia. Out to the right hand side, and Leckie trying to pass the ball back in field for the continuing run of Kuol. It's only half cleared by France, and the ball's back with Suter on halfway. Last 10 minutes on TalkSport. France 4, Australia 1. The holders looking very comfortable here at the Al Janoub against an Australian side that had them worried early on and had them behind early on. But they've powered their way through this second half, in particular with those 2 goals in a matter of minutes from Mbappe and Giroud to set the seal on what looks a rudimentary 3 points. It's now a question of how many France want to try and win by, how much ambition they show at this point. Moy, meantime, for Australia, floats it out to Behic on the left hand side, given away though, and Coman comes in field, finds Mbappe towards the edge of the area. Sutar's trying to keep him under wraps. He just floats it to the far post looking for Giroud, who's on a hat-trick of course now. Ball's only half cleared. Coman jinking down the right hand side of the box, turns away from Mabil, works it back to Pavard. Now Griezmann and Fofana exchange passes. Slow, quick, slow from France at times. They're now slowing the game down as they work the ball back towards the halfway line. Now Rabiot under pressure from Cummings, just drifts away from the Aussie striker. Back with Upamecano. They seem to have time now to do whatever they want in possession, the French. Fofana tucks it round the corner down the right wing for Kingsley Coman. The ball tucked in field by Griezmann, looking again for Coman, but Irving wins it back. It'll break for Mbappe, 20 yards out, just couldn't get away from the attentions of Aaron Moy, who whilst he was on the deck managed to get the ball half clear, but the ball's back in from Griezmann. Oh, Mbappe's touch let him down for the first time tonight. The ball floated into him, delicious ball from Griezmann, but he just couldn't control it, and Ryan gobbled it up in the Australian goal. 4-1 France.
Well, there was a smile on Mbappe in the first half when he missed that gilt chance right in front of goal on that occasion. He's livid with himself that he didn't complete the control.
Griezmann really enjoying and relishing this role, it seems to me, in behind a striker like Giroud, where he can scheme from that number 10 position. And here he is again in possession for France, working the ball to Rabiot at the edge of the centre circle. Griezmann again into the feet of Mbappe, and another collector's item from Kylian Mbappe, a misplaced pass that allows Cummings just to thump it downfield, but it's quickly retrieved by Lloris because there's nobody in an Australian shirt inside the French half. 7 minutes to go. It's French leading by 4 goals to 1. Remember, after this, Adrian and Stuart will reflect on all of the day's events through till 10 o'clock before the guys on the sports bar take over, taking your calls. 03717 2233 44. Griezmann for France rolls the ball back to halfway, and Konate and Upamecano exchange passes. Now Theo Hernandez once again plays a 1-2 with Mbappe. Again, they're slowing the game down to almost walking pace, are France. Just content to pass the ball around and work it from right to left and try and find the opening, and then Konate hits far too strong a pass out to the right hand side. Here comes another double change for Australia, and Milos Degenek of Columbus Crew in MLS is coming on, and also Keanu Bacchus from St Mirren, so another player from the Scottish Premiership is being introduced. And it's the end of Nathaniel Atkinson's night, trying to deal with Kylian Mbappe, and the other player coming off is Jackson Irving to allow those 2 players to come on, Degenek and Bacchus, for the last 6 minutes or so here on TalkSport at the Al Janoub. And maybe some of these substitutes for Australia might want to give their manager some food for thought for the games to come, Stuart Pearce.
Yeah, potentially. I think there'll be one player who's been asked to assign to go on and deal with Mbappe, who won't be thanking his manager, to be quite honest with you.
Even at this point in the game.
Yes.
Kuol lays the ball off to Moy. Now it's picked up for the first time by Bacchus. Swings the ball out left hand side to Behic. Ball's played back into his path by Mavil, but it doesn't work out for him, and the French can bring it clear. Good strong run down the right hand side from Pavard, but the ball won't reach him. It's drifted out of play. 5 minutes to go on TalkSport. 4-1 to the World Cup holders. And the ball's played through the centre circle by Bacchus to Leckie. Holds the ball up well with 3 or 4 France players around him. Eventually it's taken off his toe by the strength of Dayot Upamecano. He just puts his foot on the ball ahead of his 18-yard line. Plays it right to Pavard. Coman inside his own half. Just protects the ball neatly from the attention to Behic. And now Rabiot takes over. Turns away from Aaron Moy. You do sense that France do still want to add to this tally. They just want to find that moment. And Griezmann, who's so often the man that changes the pace of a France attack, wants the ball again down the inside right channel. Coman has it on the wing. Pavard works it back to halfway, and Konate. Upamecano directing operations now in the centre circle. Gives the ball to Rabiot to his right. Further right is Pavard. Coman out there suddenly comes in field, but runs into Bacchus. And Bacchus, in winning the ball, just toe poked it into the French half, and Les Bleus have it back once again. And Upamecano once again is in possession. Now Fofana takes over. Ball out to the right hand side, and Coman, 3 in the area waiting for a cross, comes in to the 6-yard line. It's very comfortably claimed by Matthew Ryan. 4-1 to the French here.
Yeah, as I say, happy to keep possession, and every now and then they just raise the tempo when they see a sort of a hole in the back line of the Australians.
Bacchus plays it left for Behic for Australia. Plays the ball back in field first to Rouse and then Suter. It's good to see Harry Suter back playing football again. He's had a year out. Dreadful time of it at Stoke City, but he's back playing EFL football again. But he's had a stern test tonight. Giroud on a hat-trick, remember. As Griezmann picks the ball up for France at the edge of the centre circle. Plays a 1-2 with Mbappe. Now clips it out beautifully to Pavard on the right hand side, level with the area, more players in the box, but everyone went near post. The ball went far, but Degenec elects to put the ball out of play for a French corner, as another double change is being readied down beneath us. This time it's France who are making a double change, and Jules Koundé of Barcelona is coming on, and so too Marcus Thuram, son of the famous Lilian Thuram, who didn't feature in the qualifiers, and Pavard is coming off. He's had another solid game at right back for France tonight, Stuart Pearce.
Yeah, he certainly has, as I say, not been tested too much, but comfortable in possession of the ball. Certainly got forward and supported any attack.
And Giroud won't get his hat-trick, but what a night for him, Stuart. He's drawn level with Thierry Henry on 51 French goals, set to go past him this tournament, surely. Yeah,
he's been a brilliant servant for France, and certainly his club record as well has been magnificent, and just having an individual like that who's desperate to keep playing for his country is great to see.
So the double change made. Koundé on for Pavard, and Thuram on for Giroud, and now Griezmann can take this corner for France. Onto the 6-yard line, palmed away by Ryan. It was Konate with a flying header. Good save by Matthew Ryan. Mbappe picks it up on the right hand side for France, so near to 5-1. Just rolls it back towards the halfway line. Good save from Matt Ryan there, Stuart.
It was a great save, to be fair. He got 2 strong hands on it and parried it out, and it's been a feature of the Australian game that's probably been the most disappointing, failing to deal with crosses that have come in, and too many French players have got contacts, and that they've obviously scored from that sort of line of attack as well.
Picked up by Degenec. just on as a substitute. Kuol tries to win a throw off Hernandez, but went out the youngster last of all. And the ball's back with Upamecano. Now Konate. Koundé is playing it in Pavard's right back position. And Mbappe to switch wings for a minute. Coman's come across to this near side of the left, and he's in possession now, drifting infield to the centre of the Australian half. Griezmann picks it up, controlled the ball brilliantly when it was played at him at speed. Back it goes to Fofana. Quick ball for Griezmann, who sends it out to the right hand side. Koundé finds Griezmann once again, and Mbappe makes a run in the centre, far post. It was headed goals by Theo Hernandez, but straight at Matt Ryan. And again, the French just increased the tempo from nowhere. 4-1 they lead. We're into 7 minutes of added time, Stuart.
Yeah, great ball in there from Griezmann. Just gets his head up, and you know there's danger, and he just puts it into areas that just encourage players to make runs. Good climb at the far post, but just couldn't get the power on it.
Throw in for Koundé as we move into that 7 minutes of added time. And the ball's back with Hugo Lloris, who will have busier nights than this during the course of this World Cup. You can be certain of that.
It's almost a norm now in the games that there's going to be at least, probably including both halves, 15 minutes of extra time, isn't there?
Well, as Adrian said before kick-off, we've had a full 90 minutes of stoppage time in the games that preceded this one. So stick another, 15 on this. Now here's Konate finding Coman, right-hand side. Suddenly he puts the afterburners on, gets away for a moment from Bacchus, gets to the right-hand corner of the penalty area, tries to play a 1-2 with Griezmann, but they were wise to that, and Behic, who's worked hard all night at left back for Australia, puts it out for a French throw.
Yes, as I say, he's stuck to his job. He's not hidden in any way, shape or form, been beaten on the odd occasion, but more than the odd occasion to be fair, but he's stuck with it, and there's a level of honesty there about him.
Plays for Dundee United, struggling in the Scottish Premiership at the moment, as is Behic. Ball's back with Upamecano at the edge of the centre circle. In stoppage time, we played a couple of minutes of the 7 that have been added on by the South African referee. Now Griezmann just lays the ball off to Rabiot. Coman down the right wing again, 3 players to aim at in the box for a cross. He's gone into the area himself, right hand side. Coman still wriggling through with the ball at his feet. Then he goes back outside to Koundé. Coman again tries to pirouette at the edge of the area, taken on by Mbappe, tries to win a corner, but it's a goal kick in the end for Australia as time ticks down here at the Al Janoub Stadium. France 4, Australia 1.
Yeah, as I say, with the draw, Tunisia and Denmark in this group as well, that probably, not just the result for France has been really good, it also as well, Denmark not picking up full points in a game that probably they're expected to win.
4 more games tomorrow. TalkSport 2 for Morocco against Croatia, and then Germany, Japan, Spain, Costa Rica, and Belgium, Canada, all live on TalkSport. So plenty to keep you occupied from 10 a.m. in the morning right the way through to 10 p.m. at night, plus TalkSport breakfast tomorrow from 6 a.m. with Laura and Gabby. Also Andros Townsend, who's over here with us in Qatar, will join in from 7 a.m. before White and Jordan, who are also out here in Qatar, take over from 10 a.m. One last chance maybe for France to come forward and make it 5. Hernandez tries to play the ball in field to Mbappe, but it's picked off by Aaron Moy. Moy up to halfway and Cummings trying to turn the ball around the corner for Leckie. Nice idea, but it just didn't come off for Australia. And then a heavy challenge by Aaron Moy leaves Hernandez on the deck. His brother's already gone off with what looked a serious injury from an innocuous fall, and Moy's had a yellow card for his trouble for that challenge on Hernandez, who looks like he doesn't need any treatment. He's being helped to his feet. France 4, Australia 1.
Yeah, Moy just caught him there, just outpaced really. He's gone for the ball. Hernandez just the recipient of a late challenge.
So a free kick to France, just shy of the halfway line. Most of the Aussie fans have stuck around, the ones in the yellow shirt, the gold shirts, away to our right hand side. They've not given up on their team entirely, but there's stern faces in that end to our right hand side. I mentioned that their relationship with the manager Graham Arnold could be described as frosty. Although there is a Sydney-Melbourne divide between some Australian supporters. Graham Arnold has a Sydney connection, so if you're a Melbourne fan, he's not your ideal candidate to take the job. He's got to try and get Australia competitive in this group, but they've got defending to do as Koundé slides the ball down the right hand side of the box. Coman, he did well to keep it in play at all. He wasn't, oh no, he actually didn't keep it in play. The assistant took about 5 seconds to decide it had gone over the dead ball line, but Coman wasn't done any favours by Koundé's ball down the right hand side of the box.
Really poor ball, I thought, you know, over-hit it, and it was only Coman's real pace that gave him any chance of getting anywhere near it.
Backus for Australia finds Aaron Moy, drifts towards the halfway line. Now Garan Kuol, who's now Australia's youngest ever player at a World Cup. In fact, that record was also set 4 years ago again in Kazan against the French, when Daniel Arzani, should I say, he had a cap for Australia that night at the age of 19 years, 163 days. Garan Kuol, 18 years and 68 days, a babe in arms by comparison. Foul gives a free kick to Australia inside their own half. Rabiot caught Kuol, but time is ticking away for Australia here.
Some real strange decisions, Dance. I mean, they let play go on, and all of a sudden they pull it back for a foul in the opposite direction to an advantage, and you think, well, is someone speaking to the referee and making a decision from above?
We thought that with the corner that was awarded to France after a goal kick was originally given. Australian possession inside their own half. Suter finds Aaron Moy. Final remaining seconds here on TalkSport at the Al Janoub. Cummings, good ball out to the left hand side, and the ever willing Behic gets away, faced up by Koundé, jinking towards the edge of the area, gets it back from Leckie, still got it, corner of the 6-yard box, and he runs into trouble, and it goes behind in the end for what is a goal kick. In fact, the referee's whistle has gone for the end of the match, and the World Cup holders of France have got off to a terrific start. Didn't seem that way early on when Craig Goodwin put Australia into a shock lead, but then the French went through the gears. Rabiot equalised for 1-1 with a close range header, and then Olivier Giroud got his first of 2 on the night as he notched his 50th and 51st goals for his country. Kylian Mbappe in on the act as well. All too easy for the French in the end. Australia have got some serious work to do if they're not going to be the whipping boys once again in a World Cup group. But for Didier Deschamps and co, allez, France 4, Australia 1.